Oh.
Oh,
Oh. Okay, you're back. Yeah. Because of the clear camera?
yeah.
Well, very, very maniacal. It's like the Joker.
That's my dream role, I think.
The Joker is your dream role?
Yeah, like if they start a franchise, I want to take the role from Joaquin Phoenix. Just putting it out there. I should know the name of the production company if I was gonna put it out there, Universal Studios or somebody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, somebody.
Look at this Joker face.
Hey man, I'm convinced that should just be just layer on that makeup on you and you could be the next Joaquin Phoenix. I'd buy it. Yeah. Damn.
But let's be honest, I mean, the best Joker role still belongs to Heath Ledger, rest in
Heath
peace.
Ledger. Oh yeah, he was great. He was great at that. But I think Joaquin Phoenix was fantastic too. Damn. I'd be a hard choice to pick between the two.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed Joaquin Phoenix's his movie, of course. Uh I like that one movie about that character. So he wasn't just like a bad guy opposed to a good guy. I thought he was just, oh, that's a human being if that person made some choices and was raised in certain environments and certain things happened to him.
An all right guy, just gone by the wayside,
Yeah.
crushed in the city's debris.
Yeah. And everyone's got a little joker in them if they're not careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They try
always
to be too
there.
nice almost.
Who's too nice?
Joaquin in it. He's kind of like too nice.
Oh yeah, he's a sensitive boy in that.
Yeah.
He's just a sensitive boy, and then people for no reason beat the shit out of him, and then he
Yeah.
initially at least, and then he's like, "Fuck, I'm not gonna be nice anymore," and oh, I'm gonna release the Kraken and be real mean. That's why
Yeah.
people liked it, I think, because they saw the justification as to why he became what he was. It's like, oh yeah, man, I can see that because it wasn't out of the blue.
And he was trapped in it. I thought that was fascinating. His like laugh, his laugh
Ah.
um condition signs his fate on top of everything else.
He just, oh yeah, I guess, yeah. In Towards the end of it, he just sort of buys into the idea of like, oh, this is who I am now. He was trying to search for who he was, right? Like, who
I
am
just
I?
noticed
Who am
this as
I?
well. By the end, he doesn't seem to suffer from the chronic laugh anymore.
Oh,
It
oh
goes
yeah,
away. He stops having these awkward moments where I guess he feels vulnerable or something.
yeah. Because he feels confident, I guess, and yeah,
Yeah.
and those little things just go away. And then after that, he just sees that the adulation that he gets, right? Because people are celebrating. People do like him, do they not? Like,
So he'll be liked for whatever he'll be liked. He accepts it.
some people, yeah, at least some people like him,
Oh yeah,
and
and then they
wow,
cheer him. They crash the police car that he's. I watched it recently. They crash the police car that he's being driven off in, and they
yeah.
pick him up. When they realize it's him on the TV, they pick him up and they put him on the ambulance that crashed into the police car,
Ah,
and they
wow.
all start cheering him. And he
Yeah.
just does a little like,
Oh, he does that same dance move thing. Yeah.
yeah, does a
Wow.
little hi to the audience.
Ooh, crazy movie. It's a good movie, man.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, but they didn't. They did have some backlash toward it, which they do for now. Every good movie that comes out is that, oh, they're celebrating the villain. It's like, well, I think
Okay.
they were not celebrating anything. I think the people who liked it just thought, were like, oh, thank you, a movie for adults. It was a refreshing change from whatever
I mean, it's
social
like a comic book
justice that
movie,
they have to
Comic
fight.
books are dark. What like if there's a whole thing where you are going to celebrate the villain, it's going to be a heightened fiction, a world of black and white. Is it we even allowed to say that? World of black and white, good guys, bad guys, heroes, villains. Sometimes the villain's going to have a good storyline, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think the point is that people identify so easily with the hero, but really you should be identifying with both because it's all a metaphor for like it's both of those characters are in you and they are in everyone. And depending on what happens in their life and the decisions that they make, because they are decisions that you are making, you might turn out to be either of these guys. Yeah, and hopefully it's the good guy. But really, it's both of these people are in you. Yeah.
I
You
don't
said you
know.
had a topic. You said you had
Okay,
a topic. Yeah.
so I've been thinking about this,
Yeah.
and because you got me to Sam Harris and stuff, and I can Joe Rogan, and I constantly hear this debate about AI and will AI have it out for us?
Yeah.
If we create very human-like, if we master recreating consciousness, like smart consciousness, will it not just destroy human beings? And I was thinking, well, if we create like AI with like all the information we have now and all the technology, and we already know that computers are way smarter than we could ever be,
Mhm.
why would they have a bone to pick with us? Like, like we know now we don't want to kill all the great white sharks. All of those are monsters. Like if you look at it on paper,
Yeah.
it took us a while to get it, but now we just know we're way above them and we should just let them live. Like, why the fuck would AIs, like, wouldn't they just come to be and be like, oh, you made me? Oh, you're so inferior? Oh, I don't know. Everything about you is kind of boring unless I kind of want to mimic it for fun. And I feel like that's our ego going, well, they want to take us out. It's like, no, they'd probably just blast off and create their own fucking universe.
Ooh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, why would they just sort of,
Or
how would you
why not
say?
feel sympathy for us? Or why not keep us like pets?
Oh, yeah, but maybe that's the fear. Maybe the fear is that they will just keep us as pets instead of, and then neuter us to be, I don't know, a very tiny version of ourselves.
Oh God, yeah, okay, you got me with the neutering. I was about to say, like, who cares so much if they want to keep us as pets? Like we keep dogs as pets, they have good lives. Imagine the kind of hamster cage that AI could create for us.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's already happening in a way, right? Uh,
Oh my God, we already lost the phones.
we've all already lost the phones. Everything is through the phone. Uh,
The
but I
algorithm
think
already
we'll,
sucked in.
yeah, we've already been sucked in. But I think the difference is I think the dogs are, I feel like perhaps they are not, their brains aren't big enough to know that they are pets, or maybe they've just succumbed to it. Like maybe we pity dogs, really. We don't want the dogs to fully be like the wolves that they came from, because then they'd be hard to be around.
Yeah,
Um,
but we're so much superior, like cognitively, to the
mhm.
dogs. Who's to say that the AIs couldn't be so much superior cognitively to us that they could pretend like they're helping us,
Mhm.
and we wouldn't even know that to them they're like
Oh,
grooming us. They're
yeah.
like, oh, we'll make it easy. We'll make life easy for these stupid things to live in comfort and just put them somewhere safe so they don't harm each other and they don't destroy the planet. And we'll help them with training for sport. We'll give them extracurricular activities and stuff. We'll keep them healthy, and they already feel rewarded by taking pictures of what they do. So we just let them take pictures of what they do
Yeah.
and put it online and pat each other on the back and go, look, I'm alive and look, I'm healthy and look, I do things.
Yeah.
And now you know it's immortalized because there's a picture,
Yeah.
and they could just
Hmm.
feed that. They could just
Uh,
feed that and suckle us on that
well, I think that's
AI
the fear. That's the fear is that they will
tit.
a what tit? An
That
AI tit.
AI like Novocaine producing tit. It's all right.
Sort of like this Matrix. I think that's they
Yeah,
put you in
yeah,
those pods, right? I think the pods, the way I think the story is narrated is that I think the human beings to put them, the machines put the people in the pods in that fluid
yeah,
thing
it's
so that they
good.
could live forever, but live their lives through the AI in the Matrix. And I
We
think
don't,
the
we don't get to see how they get there. Maybe
no,
they're slow coaxing.
maybe it was also, I think that the fear is that the machines will do this out of a sense of altruism. Oh, we're actually taking care of them. Like we know so much that we're actually not doing it in a way of like, oh, let's make these humans like pets, like dogs are. We're actually doing, oh, because they, look at them, they're gonna kill each other. They kill each other all the time. They're so flawed. They have a limited brain capacity, and they always succumb to their human nature, which is constantly gotta be in check, and every human has it. That like the superhero and supervillain, they've all got them in each of them. So let's like make them perfect. Like, and that in a way to do that is to just put them in pods, right? Control their brains, make them in this amniotic fluid, and then plug them into this fake world where even if they let their human nature play out,
Yeah.
but as they do play out, to make sure that they don't actually kill themselves. It's just in this fake world, but they don't know that it's a fake world.
So you think that's like the preamble to the Matrix that they don't show us, or else we wouldn't root for the humans as much?
What's the preamble?
That actually it was kind of a consensual agreement that the AIs like coaxed us willingly into and more comfortable lifestyle,
Yeah,
less and less tolerant of reality. Oh, reality is too much.
too
Oh, just
much.
give me something. Just give me something virtual that I can
Yeah,
control. And the machines are like, "Are you sure? Okay, I guess you
yeah.
created us." And then they're just like glorified babysitters by like 100, like 1,000 years in, and the movie starts them, and we're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, these fucking machines that we created have taken us over." Like it's some big revolt, but they're just like, "We tried to give you utopia, and it was too good for the humans."
Yeah.
And so really, if we knew the beginning, we'd just be like, "Oh, just leave us in the fucking pods. We're
In
just
the
gonna figure it out with the machine world anyway."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, I think that's true. I think yeah, it probably was the case of like that's why they have that architect scene where they show how like initially it was perfect. The Matrix was like perfect utopia where you could fly and stuff, but then the human beings couldn't process that because they knew it was fake, because obviously we don't do that, so they have to program in imperfection into the system. And one of the imperfection results is this aberration that every one or six iterations or whatever, there's going to be one matrix that tries to fight the whole system that they're
Yeah,
actually
something
keeping them
smells
safe.
fishy here.
Yeah, and they have to go through that whole. They have to
How
play
come no
out
matter
that.
what I do, you're just as good as me? What the fuck's going on here? There's a part of me that can't stand that.
Yeah,
No, how
that's it.
am
That's
I
why.
not better than you?
Yeah, yeah. That rebelliousness. That's like the most human thing.
That animal,
That's
fucking fight or flight,
animal.
DNA that's been surviving for centuries and
Yeah,
thousands of years by like eating prey, predator relationships, fucking animal sex, which is always fucking weird and rapey, or like really strangely impulsive, like just instinctual. Like something happens in the female, she's in heat, and she just can't even think right. She just, oh, the programming's taken over. I guess I
yeah,
get fucked now. And the male's like, something smells in the air. I guess I put a baby in someone now.
yeah,
And
yeah.
she's like, you didn't give us that, but we can do whatever you need.
Yeah, yeah. They don't understand that. Or they'll never, or maybe they will be able to program it out of you. But then if you do program that part of being human, what you just described, out of you, then would you still be human? You would be like them then. You would be like a machine
Yeah.
if that animalistic thing that you just described was for somehow they just took that part out, then you would be like them. And then I guess there wouldn't be any difference.
Oh, would
Um,
that be their neutering? That's how they neuter us?
mm.
So then it'd kind of be like a favor to us if they put that part of us inside them, so we could feel like, you know like we know what you're doing, machines.
What do you mean? You put the
Like,
animalistic part into the
the animals.
into the robots, into the
Yeah,
AI?
like we're damned if we're damned if we don't. So we're gonna put that stupid animal quality inside of us so we can feel like we want to bitch slap you guys around a bit because you made us do it. And we don't
But
have a
that
choice.
wouldn't be rational for them, though, right? Because they're so 100% rational beings. Not beings, but rational machines. That if you program animalistic stuff into them, maybe, yeah, maybe that's how we will be able to control them, is to program irrationality into them.
We would have to put some kind of tubes that operate on synthetic AI, testosterone,
To
and
be like an animal. Yeah, yeah, to like, yeah, like you described that whole animalistic sexual nature part,
oh,
because it'd be too perfect. Yeah, yeah.
they'd be too enlightened. They'd be too,
But then you know what's funny is that the reason why, like all that stuff that makes us so like animalistic, and that lizard brain stuff that made us evolve that you just described, that's also the stuff that a lot of the time is that the reason why we kill each other. Groups kill each other groups, and it's just sort of is like a hindrance to progress.
yeah, it's just
You know?
weird stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
I feel like that's the source of all our problems, but we still don't know how to address it. Like
because
we've
it's
created all these institutions and stuff, which are just kind of like fluffing around the problems, and then we're insulted by the idea that like we're animals, but it's like it's the most obvious thing. Like if you stop for a second and you think about it, it's the most obvious thing. Like okay, there's this planet with nutrients and stuff, and I don't know, maybe some bacteria was what we first like either magic or evolution, right? We all say that, and then the smart progressive people will say like, well, obviously evolution because like people controlled us with magic and religion before, so that's evil
yeah.
because it was a patriarchal institute. It was like okay, then we're an animal. What? I'm a woman. I'm a black man. No, we are better than we are humans, and can have compassion. It's like, yeah, we have to practice really hard. We created that word. We did that. Compassion wasn't a thing before we created that word,
Wow.
and messed with our animal behavior because we created a word.
Yeah.
And people get so mad. I don't know. It's like, yeah, but obviously we came from the same. Like, look at every other animal. Look at every single other animal, and we're just like one kind of notch. We're one
Above.
kind of notch above. And
Yeah.
so why would we be so different? Like we're from the same substance. We're
Hmm.
from the same source. We seem to be part of what living things do.
Yeah.
We're flawed. We're bitter. We're crazy. We're I don't know. Well, we're not only
We
those things, but
Well, yeah, well, that's a big part of us. We want to eat and we want to fuck and we want to make sure that our people that we produce with our species is the one that gets ahead over everyone else, because we want them to survive so our genes can survive. And that part of it will never go away. And so that's why I think like socialism, or what's communism, probably won't work, even though people were like, "Oh man, you should just try it. Capitalism is so bad."
yeah.
But the reason why communism and socialism won't work is because we're not perfect enough for living in that world. That it doesn't account for the
They don't have like a
animalistic.
zoological blueprint in them.
Yeah, it's not built in. The animalistic survival part is not built into the system. Whereas in capitalism, at least that's built in. It makes sense to us that, hey, if I want to get ahead, if I want to feed my children and give them a better life so that my genes can continue, then I need to work hard. But if I have to just put in the work for other people's kids, I think after a while it gets like, "Ah, I don't even know who these people are in some other part of the country. Why would I want to work for them? Like I want to work for me and
But I
feeding."
did I dated someone who studied anthropology, and she was big into that about like this thing of sharing resources with someone that's not your kid. There is an instinctual part apparently that's unnatural too.
Mm.
That's
That's the
fighting.
animal part that you just said. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the pettiness, that's the jealousy, that's the anger. That's when you want to kill the other group. All of a sudden you're human, they're human, but you want to murder them because you feel that, hey, they're stealing food out of my kid's mouth, and
yeah.
like I can't give the best shot to my genes that are going to continue because of them. So I'll go to war. Yeah.
I, I I don't know. Like I don't know for sure here, but I've been thinking about this in terms of like tribalism and racism. And part of me got to thinking one day, before there was like massive conglomerations of big cities and stuff. At some point, there was like some people in the bush, and it was really hard to survive. And eventually, we had to even become smart enough to go, oh, it's better for us to band together. But then sometimes that's a liability. There's like a numbers game, it seems. And some people were like, oh, when we're not doing well, we can kill people that we've decided it's too many for us to help. And I was thinking, well, at some point, you would have had restricted gene pools in these tribes, and so probably everyone kind of looked, kind of similar. Like,
Yeah.
and so there might have been an instinctual part of the brain that saw someone too different as like potentially a threat.
Yeah.
Potentially a threat. Why is this person outcast? Are they a marauder? Are they, like
It's only
they're not?
bad. It's only negative. Like for the longest time, now that when people see, like in the Caribbean, I suppose is a good example, when people see boatloads of shiploads of people coming to your island, you're like, yay, money, right? Like because they bring in. But I think for like thousands of years before that, oh, maybe just 50 years, okay, 100 years before today, 1920. Even then, when you saw a boatload of foreigners coming, you're like, oh crap, we're all going to die. Either we're going to kill them or they're going to kill us, right? It's one of those things.
Or you're like fucking immigrants, like
You, you,
freeloaders coming
yeah,
to.
feel which is also the same, which is like they're gonna steal food from me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're the other. They're the other.
Yeah.
So
Take our jobs.
already we don't like them. Yeah, they're
It
stealing my.
translates, same thing translates into whatever progress we've reached.
Yeah, but now it's different. But it's we're still like a hair away from that before it's used. I mean, it's there all the time. Whenever a group of people from move to another group, the people who are living there, a lot of them there's that sort of reaction of like, oh, usually it's like attributed to the conservatives, like, oh, going to come in and steal our jobs. That's the biggest thing, and it comes from the animalistic part of us. Like you said, I think the number is 150, 150 people that you can remember and care for in a group before the human band has to like split in order for us to have the same level of care. Otherwise, we start to feel that like, oh, we start to create different demarcations in our society. We start to create different otherings between like us and them because we can't take it. Our brains like, oh crap, man, like they're going to steal the resources from the children of my children. Yeah.
Yeah. What do we do? Our brains can't handle it.
I think that's why you come up with democracy, which is a shit system. You come up with that because it's
I mean,
the
that's why it comes with
constant.
religion as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, that too. Yes.
This
Yes.
is why you make a claim on the afterlife. If you kill your neighbor or steal from them or do, you know what? That thing that's way longer than life, death, that's going to be hell forever. Forever. That's like, all right, that's a good trick for your dogs. Like, like,
Boom. Yeah, they believe in a different way.
scream against that urge.
Yeah, man. But then that's why you also. But then you also have the compassion part of it too. We're not entirely animals. The one way that we are different than the other animals is that we do have that compassion part of us. We do have that caring part. And not that they don't, but we consciously can have compassion. You know,
Yeah.
we can
Also,
constantly.
we've created weird games like play. Like you and I with the acting, we can act out horrendous aspects of ourselves to
Yeah.
actually enjoy. Like we have to enjoy it. We have to enjoy it fully. But for the sake of like illusion, it's fine. I volunteer to get blasted by this fucking asshole who's trying to have sex with my wife or who's stolen my money or whatever it is
You mean in the play? In a play?
into play. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
after we're friends and we shake it off, we're like, yeah, cool.
Right. You can
Yeah,
tell the difference between a play and real life. That's you can tell the difference.
yeah, but it's like as humans, we found a convention where we funnel that into.
So we are different in that way from animals. Like you don't see dolphins putting on plays or
No,
chimpanzees. Maybe you do rudimentary play
they play.
archetypical thing. Yeah, but then that's built into their nature too because they have to do that in order to build some skills to survive in the wild and build
Dolphins also have
camaraderie.
the thing on their side that they're allowed to hunt other things that aren't them freely and just eat it as food. You know?
Oh, other animals do that too. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
they have this thing of like you, we're allowed to team against you, and you die because we don't have any other choice to survive. We got to eat this.
yeah, yeah,
We got this weird, uh, this weird paradox that our brain can think like a robot. Or technically, we can sort of guess at how a robot would think, but we can't. Oh, we can't. Oh, like that disconnects us from who we are. If we're too like cerebral, we gotta keep all this
yeah,
happy and
yeah. That's interesting. Other
like keep
animals,
robots.
like we can identify as humans, like what's the stuff that is flawed in us, which is which is human nature. That's
Yeah,
the thing that makes us flawed, but also very beautiful creatures because we have developed from the animal world. And then the robots, like you were saying, they just have the good parts, I suppose, of or the logical,
this is logic.
irrational parts of us, because we have filtered everything other flaw out because we program it, so they just give us the perfect response. But then it also breeds out the coolness that makes us cool. Um, you
Do you think
know,
robots would envy that?
I don't know if I don't know if envy will be part of their thing, but I don't know if they can produce art.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can produce music. That'll be. I'm sure we can program it to like robots can make songs right now, but will they really be able to make that stuff that like a song that really speaks to you in a very truthful way?
Past behind it.
Yeah, can they truly write a song? Man, but I think they might be very close to it probably. But I don't
Yeah.
know if they'll ever be able to do that. Is the argument that I can think of in my head. But can you make a robot that's smart enough to mimic the and to be able to write a song that's so beautiful that can capture the stuff that's in your heart? Can but by programming, just by
Maybe they would capture stuff that's in other robots' hearts.
what do you
Maybe
mean?
to a robot they'll be,
A
like
robot song for robots?
yeah, their art would be some level of programming that's just who knows what the fuck is doing. Like, oh my god, I'm setting myself into an acid trip right here. Like, what if we are in some kind of robot's art right now? Like them playing art, they can take in so much information that their playing with program would be like, look at this, like Hadron
Alien.
Collider times a million. Like they're playing notes in the Hadron Collider.
Right, right. They're taking what is that? Joe Rogan keeps quoting that quote from some smart guy. We are the sex organs of the AI or something. What's
Yeah.
that? I don't even know. I'm butchering. But what you're saying is just replace robots, in your what you just said with like some smarter aliens who just they come in every now and then to check up on us. So we're like the playthings of them because they just see like, oh, look at how these groups. We'll just put this seed, the single cell organism in this world, and then let's and throw enough sunlight on it, which the sun is giving us, and then eventually they're gonna make skyscrapers and they're gonna make Netflix, but then they're also going to kill each other and they're going to debate on silly things.
Yeah,
Um,
because if they're not us, then like, wouldn't that just be more interesting? What's the most beautifully poetic nuance you could write into the whole
bro, if
doing?
we were, okay, imagine if we were those aliens or we were like super smart robots. I think wouldn't it be fun to watch us like from like afar, from in like a jar, like an aquarium, kind of
Yeah,
like it would be super fun to watch us. I feel
yeah. Like I'm gonna kind of let it go and see.
how what this thing does. Yeah,
Yeah, but they need more than fish in an aquarium. They need a whole planet with
yeah.
everything on it.
Totally. That'd be such a great show to watch. Great like pets to have just to observe how these things that think that they're so smart and they are, but they're not smart enough to conquer their human nature, but they're just smart enough to make skyscrapers and art and other beautiful things, but then also kill each other simultaneously, of course. And they won't evolve at the same rate as other groups of their same ilk do.
Oh,
So one
Yeah,
group will have like skyscrapers and beautiful buildings, but then the other group will just struggle to even, figure out a coherent form of society that they can live in without killing each other all at the same time in the year 2020. Like, like the Taliban can exist, but
yeah,
also the American government can exist,
yeah.
or,
It's like the
whatever.
American soil. Like you could grow up in Tallahassee, or you could be born in Somalia and at the risk of like pirates killing you.
Yeah, yeah, man.
There's already like different universes like right here. Like I think about
What
the
are
how you can read all these, you can read novels like fantasy novels, sci-fi novels with these crazy ideas for different landscapes and different societal scapes and stuff. And then if you think about it for a second, it's like, oh, well, that kind of alien almost exists right here on Earth compared to my neighborhood. There's completely alien somewhere. There's a whole different way of life with different humans, different customs, different cultures, different ways of offending each other, different ways of
Yeah.
of bonding, of gratifying, of rewarding.
Man, it's what's funny? I saw this show on Amazon called Electric Dreams. It's based on Philip K. Dick's stories, and each one oh sorry, I think you cut off. Just say something. You're gone.
No,
Oh,
what?
you're back. You're back. You're back. You're back. You're back.
I
Yeah.
just had to get emotional enough.
It just got yeah.
I'm still
Uh,
alive.
You're still alive, yeah. So anyway, in that there was this one episode. Each one is like a different story and a different like it's kind of like a Black Mirror thing. It's kind of like dystopian in a way. And there was one with Bryan Cranston in it where they are on these humans are like on a new they've conquered a new planet and they're trying to extract the resources. I guess sort of like colonization, I guess, but on a new planet. And they have like bred, even though they're like super smart and they think super rational, but like the whole sort of like where they live and their buildings are all gray. They don't seem to have any art, even though they're humans. They're like human, super rational human beings. They don't have any. It doesn't seem like they have any art or any sort of beauty that way. It's all gray. They have the plants because it feels like they have because it feels like that's the right thing to do. Like, oh, they'll have the green plants growing in their apartment because probably green plants help you in your sleep, or they help you yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
so
with
very
their
practical and everything.
practical. It's super 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 practical, but it doesn't seem like they had any sort of art in their
And they
societies.
look human.
Oh yeah, they looked human, but they also dress in the same sort of, you know, uh, there's nothing, no colors on their uniforms. Just everyone's wearing the same stuff, and everyone's having their jobs, and they all have their little, apartments. But it all looks like very practically, very, very sophisticated and cool in that way. But it doesn't have like that thing.
It's like Fountainhead, but like the universe of Fountainhead that I
Oh,
hate.
that, yeah,
This
oh yeah.
guy's ostracized because everything it does is the most efficient design in architecture, but it's got no artistic relating to some
Yeah.
period, Baroque or Gothic
Mhm.
or Roman pillars or stuff like this.
I
And
think that's
we,
what would happen. It feels like, oh, that's what would happen if we didn't have that cool human nature that also makes us super flawed. If we bred that out, what if we bred that part out? Then we just have these like gray buildings with like very practical things in them, and we'd only think about colonization, but we only think of like, oh, we need resources to make us survive, and maybe perhaps that will make us survive because that's what the need of the hour is, and we're so smart and so rational. But then life is more than that,
so these guys weren't dancing or anything like this.
no, there was no definitely. I couldn't imagine those group of people trying to. I think
I,
it'll just be like a silly thing that they would do, or I think maybe they'll have a dance because it's prescribed. It's like, oh, you have to dance.
or like it's healthy.
It's healthy because it helps with
It,
they think of it that way. Yeah.
it incites great fluidity in the body and the joints, and it makes your cells feel good.
Yeah, and also, by the way, there was this one part where like revealed how like they found their mates. It was through arranged. It was an arranged marriage. It was they. I think they matched based on IQ and like a thing.
Like a
So it wasn't even through like love or whatever. That was actually the crux of that episode that I was watching with the Bryan Cranston one,
okay.
where she was just deeply unhappy because uh, there was no the love was just bred out. So what she did was she would go to these underground sex dungeons to
Mhm.
feel any sort of modicum of like that sexual
What?
animalistic.
So wait. Loophole. There's underground sex dungeons.
Yeah, that's one thing that was there was underground sex dungeons that was outside of this irrational thing. So I guess they found the need to have sex dungeons. uh
See,
uh
you were kind of losing me on the fact that they looked human and they were so square. Part of me was
yeah.
like, nah, we wouldn't look human if we were that square. We like, I imagine how we behave, like, and how we look kind of follows each other. But now with the underground sex dungeon, I'm just like, okay, I don't know, loophole here. So they
Yeah,
take it out. They take out all of it sexually. It's like all the
not all
sexual
of it,
stuff.
but the people who did feel the need for it, not all of them were there, but the people that found had to have that release, I guess they created these sex dungeons that they went to.
Crazy
So
out there sex dungeons, I imagine.
but it was so wild. It was like like a sex dungeon would be, but not all human. I think that's just a deviancy that breeds that also is in the system. It's not normal to have like crazy sex dungeons either. But anyway, I think
Is
going
it
back.
not? Isn't that like a funneling playfully of all our animal urges? Dude, I don't know. This is the thing I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about if we're gonna breed out our animal urges, we've got to start ramping up our fun. We got to start just living life to feel high enough, not to feel like a cunt. And anything that we're contributing to that's an industry that's not leading to that ultimately in the long run is a waste of our time. Like we could get rid of so many comforts. Who gives a shit if it's leading to some industry where there's some douchebag that's like making people worry about pay gaps and things like this? It just we're like failing ourselves. We're failing our most intelligent selves. Where's the sex dungeons? I think those humans they sound like they got it figured out. I mean, except there's no dancing and shit. But I guess if you're having sex dungeons, maybe just cut out the dancing because what's dancing but like a mating like it's probably like a differently funneled urge for a mating call.
Maybe you're right. Maybe they're so organized that their society has the arranged marriages or whatever based on their intelligence type or IQ or whatever they figured out.
Is this
And
is this somewhere I can bring in weird stuff?
where the sex dungeons?
Well, just sex in general, because I've been practicing this like sex magic stuff,
Yeah.
like the feminine version of meditation where sex is involved, where you're building up energy, and and like I told you, there's been situations where like I'll cry at all this pain, I'll cry
Mhm.
at all this fucking probably other agitations that I needed to release. And even like the most interesting session, let's call it, that I've ever had. Like I have lower back sprain. Like I've had a lower back sprains for like since we were in acting school, like
Yeah.
right after I graduated, and I still get sore. I still get sore when I put in a good session, like consciously of moving my fucking hips.
Yeah.
But there was moments in this session where like just whatever it was like
What's
acting more than fucking.
sex
It was like
session?
it was yeah. It was more
Okay.
like acting than fucking. It
Yeah.
was just kind of playing whatever mentally, kind of honestly was we needed to feel.
So using
Uh,
sex as therapy.
yeah, but at one point, this like the ape in me came out after like not wanting to like have to go there. But the ape, like despite me, because not even me following my partner trying to please her, just
Mhm.
me following my own emotions. One point, and
Right.
then I just started shaking, and didn't even feel like I was moving my hips, but I was because as I was shaking, my hips were moving, and I was like, "This is amazing! It's not putting any pressure on my lower back. I'm not going to be in pain tomorrow."
Yo, that'd be so cool if like the tantric sex sessions that you're doing actually help um in like keeping your body intact and you're not getting injured. If that'll be like a
Yeah,
great benefit, like a side benefit,
like
like not only are you fixing your like psychological problems or you're working them out, but you're also sort of you're helping out your body at the same time too. You're using different muscles or you're figuring out different ways to do things with your
I'm
body
letting the
that you
muscles
thought that
use
you
me.
were
You know,
damaged.
I
Sorry.
feel like I'm letting the muscles use me. It's because I do these
Oh,
breathing exercises where I go into shaking, and it usually like loosens my lower back. But here it was my dick was in someone at the same time. So it was
wow.
I could feel like I didn't have to feel like I was doing a discipline. Like all these breathing exercises, whatever feels like a discipline, and it's like, God, man, we could live like that. There's a way of living that's
Hmm.
just massive orgies, no, like no necessary attachments. We just get over our jealousies, get over all our shit. Everybody's
Well,
getting
that's
to.
easy to say. That you what you just said, you can't just breeze through getting over jealousy and getting over shit.
But if
But
we
if you
work
can
towards,
do that,
if we prioritized the practice, and 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 really understood the feelies, the good feelies, the therapy out of it.
hmm.
You're right. You're right. It takes out the competitive aspect of us.
But I wonder how many of these people who do practice what you're saying, the whole tantric sessions, and because a lot of it sounds like a lot of the people who do speak of it, they only show you the good parts of it, like, oh, look, we'll be more relaxed and we just get along and it's like kumbaya, whatever. But I wonder if they truly asked themselves, like, how were they dealing with the jealousy aspect of it, or how were they dealing with the other, what are the pitfalls of this? Because it seems like um, it only has you're only telling me the good parts of this, and also where are the fat people who are doing this?
Yeah, I did start thinking about
They're
that.
always very good-looking people who are into this, who are
Yeah.
screwing other good-looking people, which makes sense because that they do that not just in the tantric sessions. They do that in every gym. They do that in any banking session. They do that in every industry where the good-looking people always cluster together. The young, good-looking people
That
and
is the problem.
have sex with each other. Uh,
And what about all the people with like deformities, mental disorders?
just chubby fucks who are not working out what about do they will they or will they be transformed into these good looking people? I don't
Well, dude, some people, this is why we gotta let people who have weird kinks, because there's someone out there who's doesn't have the same, there's fat lovers,
know.
there's
Yeah.
all this stuff, someone's fantasy.
Chubby chasers.
Yeah, I think representation on TV, this whole obsession with it, if it's not to make everybody sexy or like we just way more people sexy, because people you do start looking at something differently when it's popular. Like
Yeah.
people don't want to admit this is that we're that shallow or that dumb. But you put things on a screen, it gets more popular. So we need these other cultures,
Mhm.
these other people, these other ways of life, like on a screen, and then it's all of a sudden you're interesting because you watched some culturally significant movie or da 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 da, and then you're interesting because you're opening your mind towards the other, which before that you just you didn't have any different colored people in your town or something or some dumb
Yeah.
shit, or your friends didn't. You are a bigot inside, but your friends would bully you because it's not cool to be a bigot, so they
Yeah.
bully you into saying the right thing or the wrong thing, uh, into not saying the wrong thing, I should say rather, and you're gonna fake it till you make it, till you like actually convinced your own brain, or I don't know if you can hide it. I don't know if some people are just pressing it in
Yeah.
forever. I don't know. I think if all the
But
PC
I don't
stuff,
know. I don't know, man. Like, so what you're saying is that if we just have like different types of bodies, also like fat people, along with introducing the idea that hey, fat people are sexy too.
well, there
Then
are people that love fat people. Like in
there,
antique, people love big girls. There's a meme my friend found put on the internet. It's really funny. It's like one of these morbidly obese
Jesus,
women
yeah,
on a couch pictures, and she's got like the bikini on and stuff.
yeah.
And underneath it says, "Man in Antigua be like, she's still too skinny." And it's a meme, but
Yeah.
I
That
think that
part of it is also part of our human nature because for so long we didn't have enough food to eat. So anyone who did eat a lot meant that, or not eat a lot. Anyone who had more fat on their body meant that they could survive long periods without food because they could store fat on their body, and also their children might survive because they also because they're probably stronger and have more nutrients, so they probably won't give birth to like malnourished children who might die immediately. So there is value in that for sure. But now I feel like, man, I think now poor people are fatter. Never in the history of
Yeah.
mankind has that happened where like poor people would be fat. Poor people were always skinny because they didn't have enough to eat. Now because of whatever the quality of food is so poor, that poor people are actually fatter now, and probably obesity is probably a bigger issue than starvation. That I think our brains have now change. I feel like now you covet the more people who cannot have enough fat on their body because everyone
That's
has
a
enough to
shift
eat.
in consciousness.
It's a
That's
shift.
like an evolutionary, like a DNA has got wiser there.
Yeah, yeah, because it's
Like,
like now
oh,
you don't want children who are fat because it's bad for you if you're fat. You're slower, you die sooner, you have all these problems and complications on not only just your physical joints and whatever, but also your heart and all these things. And also cosmetically, I think it doesn't look as nice. To a lot, I guess, depending on where you live, I'm sure there's still like chubby. There's like people who are like feeders and chubby chasers who want people who want to feed people who there's like skinny dudes who want to feed fat women so that they're so obese. But that's I think like a deviation. But
yeah.
then that whole thing of like, oh, if you're really fat, it means you whatever you're more nutrition or whatever. I think that stuff is going down because everyone can be fat now. So you always see that's one of the other parts of being human too. You don't want you want an edge over the group for your genes to survive. So you don't want to mate with whatever everyone has. If everyone's fat, you want to mate with someone who is super athletic, which always is the case. Because then your genes have that much of like a thing to survive. Oh, because they are half of my kids' genes will be with someone who's super athletic. I think that'll always be
Amazing,
there.
right? Yeah. That guy's hacked his genome enough that he's got it in a healthy place.
Yeah.
Pass it on.
So this tantric stuff, like it only seems to be like the good-looking people who have like exported it from India, wherever they first did it, or are still doing it. But I don't know if they will translate for people who are who are fat. Like I want to see like fat tantric sex people, like them
Well,
talking about.
I wonder if
Because you're
like
a pretty fit guy. See what you're saying, what you said about the hips and everything. Even though you said you had the back spasm and whatever, you're not obese. I want to
no,
see,
and I look healthy. My back still, still wants
of
tan.
course. Like but it does have that issue, but I feel like you still transcended it because of the fact that your body you're still not like 20% body fat. You're probably what, 15 or 12%
But
body
here's the thing: I'll never know. But what I do know is it felt like the opposite of effort at that point.
opposite of effort.
Like it felt like a release rather than a effort. So
It could just be in a
that's the weird part.
maybe your mind. Okay, so maybe but first of all, to get to that effort, what you just said, you'd have to imagine like a person who's like 30 or 40 pounds overweight. For them to just be to get to that level, they'd have to be sweating as they'll be tired like
But here's the
physically.
thing: I didn't push like the thing I followed to get to that level was not a performative aspect of sex. It was a performative aspect of like what I needed to feel. And then it had a physical consequence.
Mm.
And I know it's like weird to think of, but it felt like the most just I don't know, it felt like a flow state. And maybe that 30 pound, 40 pound overweight guy or lady, woman, and all in between can get there, but maybe their honesty isn't a back shaking, but maybe there's still like a surge of energy that's like, whoa! And with my experiences of this, it I also feel like it starts to tend towards a thing of like if your partner is willing to follow that,
Mm.
then there's no dissatisfaction because the energy feels that's what you're really striving for, because like even sexual arousal is energy in a sense, you know. So
Hmm.
if someone's energized as fuck and you can feel that, you're like, oh, he's not even. I had this. I mean, I'm gonna get into the weird stuff again. I had this one date where it went really fucking well, really easy to get on with this person. Boom, boom, boom. I was making good jokes. I was on it that night as well because I already thought that I was gonna appreciate this person's company.
Hmm.
And then we get back to hers and kind of naturally leads to the bedroom, like very naturally, like very, very naturally. One of those odd off situations. And there was this weird thing where just being against each other was intense as fuck. And me not being inside her, but just being close to her, like hovering around her clit on the outside, was when she was moaning the hearts. This when she was like, oh, and I'm like, whoa,
Wow.
what the fuck is going on? And
Right.
then when I would go inside her, it wouldn't feel as charged
Hmm.
as when I wasn't inside her.
Hmm.
And I was like, do I even need to care to be inside her? Like, I don't. I feel like a bitch uh, thinking that
Could
I'm
could that
having
just
fuck
be
with someone.
could that just be that your imaginations were just better than what, like, both of your imaginations were equally
No, because
so.
neither of us knew what the hell was going on.
Hmm.
She called me intense for like that
But
first
it could
freaked
just
her out.
be, maybe, could it also been, well then, could it then be that maybe both of you guys could not intellectualize it, but you could feel that, like, both of yours, because you guys were such a ease mood, because right from the beginning, like you just described, was, oh, everything was going along well, there was no pretense, and it was just easy, easy, easy,
Yeah,
that maybe your minds were at ease, and so your imaginations just could just kind of run with it, and so that imagination was probably better than what
okay, but
could actually
what are you
happen.
imagining as imagination here?
Well, I was, like, the fact that, oh man, like, the being with this person who's so cool, like the idea of, like, going inside of her was more fun,
Oh,
was so amazing like, because your brain filled up the gaps, because you were not actually inside of her, and hers did the same, where, like, oh, if he was inside of me, like, because her imagination was so at ease that she could just imagine this, but at the same time, it's not just imagination, because you are breathing on top of her, and you guys are actually on top of each other, that
it's
it's so easy.
so
The imagination was
crazy.
easy. Yeah, it was easy for your imagination to go with it, because you're actually there. It's not like she's actually imagining you. You're actually there. But, like, the ideas, but then,
Oh,
your mind is just filling out the rest, so that when it actually happened, oh, it's like you're fighting with what you imagined. I don't
yeah,
know.
like sexual stimulus is like how far is sexual stimulus like linked to what like expectation or something, and there was just like oh,
Expectation.
oh.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
funny because that makes me think of a mushroom trip.
yeah.
God, it's funny. Like this is Pierre's fucking rabbit hole of sex stories. But it was the first time I did a heroic dose actually with a friend who showed up, a female friend, and
How many grams did you like? Did you do a
we did
three?
five. To be
Ooh.
to be fair, I think it was 4.5 because she had these little like capsules of 9.9, so
Ah.
that none of them were an actual gram. Um, but she was someone that I was intimate with on and off. Like when she'd come over, generally it would lead that way. So I think sex was on her. Like I think this was a thing of like, oh, I'm gonna bring him something really cool to do, and then we're gonna fuck as well. But whilst we were under, at least for me, I can't speak for her to be honest. There was a point where like she called me to the bed, like I was lying on the floor, just fucking flying, and then I was like, oh, I'm not gonna name her. Oh yeah,
Bertha.
Bertha is on the bed, and I can be like I can get to the comfort of being naked with Bertha at this point, and Bertha's hot to me,
Whoa. Yeah.
and Bertha's got amazing skin, and
Yeah.
Bertha just whoa,
Right.
and I remember being able to make it to the bed, and the birth of getting the urge to touch me, but like in places that were opening me up still.
Yeah.
And at one point, Bertha said, "Why aren't we naked yet?" And I yelled because I was like, how could we even go further towards getting naked when the prospect of it is just so fecund? Ah! I was blowing at just the idea like I could be feeling even better right now. Like I could be naked with this person in my bed. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh. Yeah. I mean, that was under mushrooms, but I guess that's what you meant with like
Damn. Yeah.
imagination.
That's what I'm. Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Man, that'd be wild. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, man. I think a lot of it is imagination, no? Isn't it? Uh, what we perceive and our expectations and then our imagination fills a lot of it up if it's going well, like a lot of the bad things that we experience, right? Like a lot of negative emotions, I feel like is a lot of the emotions have to do with not actually what happened or what will happen or what did happen, but what our imagination made it out to be was way worse. And so and then our brain thought it was real, and then we felt were bad, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I do that a lot nowadays,
Yeah.
realizing that I have like nearly paranoia. I don't know where I got it. Well, like
Insecurities, right? No?
it's
Ego,
yeah. I
insecurity.
was thinking about it today, and that's where it comes from. It comes from insecurity. It starts with insecurities, and it builds up into some shit that like you face rather than the insecurities. You know, and I feel like as people we weigh that on each other
Mm,
constantly, and that's like the biggest source. That's why we can't solve conflicts
mm,
verbally, because
mm,
really what we're doing a lot of the time is just weighing up, like mounting on not facing our insecurities onto someone else.
mm.
And then the truth is, if we realize we all have these similar insecurities, that they could just collapse and just see the world for what it really is.
Yeah. Well, that's what every time I have a negative reaction nowadays, like even at work, or if someone says something dumb, or if someone's trying to be not who they are, not trying to be real. Like there's people at work. There's one person who is like very like over gregarious and like wants to help you, and she feels like she's the mom of the whole. We're just at work, and like, but like she wants to connect, and she takes a lot of energy to deal with because she's an extrovert, so she like kind of gets energy from talking to people. But
Mm.
I'm but I'm an introvert, I guess, because I like to preserve my energy, and when I talk to other people, it sort of drains my energy.
Yeah.
So all a lot of the times I'm like, ugh, she's talking again. Like she's talking again, so she's making us all inefficient. We could be focusing on. I like to focus on the job because I found a way where, by focusing on the actual task at hand, it makes me calmer. Because I get to do the task, I do the task, and then I like doing tasks instead of I don't like hate the job. I've kind of found a way to like I do this task, and then this task will be over, and then I go home. Like that's what it is. But and then I find myself like judging her and stuff, and then I'd be like, oh, you know what? The reason why she's doing what she's or behaving is because she's just emanating insecurities. That's what she's like a musical theater energy. That's what I call her in my head. She's got
Yeah.
musical theater student energy where she's like, ha 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 ha, like me, and we're talking. And some people actually like that. Some people at work over there, because it makes their day go by faster because she's sort of a character. But for me, it's like a bit annoying, and it's like you're not even being yourself. You're being very fake right now. But that's coming from your insecurities, and it's the same way if someone's rude to you, or sometimes when you're nice to a person, when you make the first move and you're like super nice, but then they just give you back this like so you say at a post office, right? You're at the clerks behind that glass whatever, and you're like, hi, how's it going? I'm here to yeah, where's this going to? Yeah, you don't have the right thing. You don't have the right, and you're like, what the fuck, this fucking bitch. But then you realize, hey man, she's probably look at the job she's doing. You're the
Yeah.
50th person she's looking at. She's got a
You're part of a monotonous cycle of just
yeah,
meet,
and
repeat, meet, repeat, meet,
repeat.
repeat.
She's got to have this mean facade because think of all the jerks that she or he meets, interacts with, and so they're so insecure that they cannot deal with the jerk, so they have to build this.
Yeah.
their ego with which they have to
Maybe
deal
their
with
own
life.
insecurity to their job. People don't want to necessarily. That's not the most glorifying.
Maybe they wanted to be someone else, but they are not. They want to be like a
Just
accountant,
think of
but they're
like
a
every
clerk.
person reflects to them. This is my life. This is my
Yeah,
job.
exactly. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
fuck you, man.
yeah.
Just your loser sending post in the first place.
Your insecurities uh, make you or torture you, so you create this ego to deal with those insecurities,
Mm.
and then that ego is the one that makes you behave a certain way because it's protecting you, because if it really shows you who you are, that you're constantly fighting, which you know who you really are, but the ego is constantly sort of fighting that sort of that those insecurities, and so you come off as this like, and in the end I guess you come off as this person that even you probably don't like, but then that's what you need to protect yourself from these insecurities. So yeah, it's all insecurities, I think. Ego insecurities, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, man. Human beings, us.
I'm a bit conscious of the time.
An hour, dude. This was kind of good. Do you want to end it here or do you want to keep going?
Can recording because I want to tell you.
Oh yeah,
What I
this
want
was
to.
good. By the way, I kind of like that we. It felt like, I don't know. It felt good. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe we'll watch this.
what part of it
Plus,
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Other times
We're still recording, by the way.
okay, that's fair enough. We don't. I
All right.
guess we can cut this out.
Yeah.
Other times I was responding to insecurities in me that if I spoke too much or if I stood my ground to speak too much, that I kept perceiving like bored faces or
Yeah.
insecurities or things
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And today I was just like, well, you don't know, and Sabah, you spoke about it with Sabah last time, and you said that you wouldn't pander to me, and so I just got to trust that we
Yeah.
can have tension, and maybe what I'm noticing is your thought process rather than like your response to me or like a response to a thought
Yeah.
or wanting to thinking about what you're going to say after or not wanting to lose a thread or
And if you do feel like maybe I am annoyed, you can call me out on it, because I think that's easier to address it than to think like, than to have that breeding in you, brooding, whatever it is in you, and then it affects you. What then you might go with, either you'll go with, oh, I might have to pander to him now, and then you'll start sucking. Your stories will start sucking because you are not you're pandering to me as opposed to
yeah,
just being truthful.
rather than going,
Or
oh, it's cool what you're saying, and I got cool things to say right now. And let's
yeah,
just
yeah.
cool things.
Yeah, man, I'm fighting the same thing. Whenever you're saying like, every time you say things, it like 10 ideas go in my head, but then I'm fighting them because I want to listen to you, and then
Okay.
once because because if I keep interrupting you with my 10 ideas, then it won't be doing justice to you, and then it's not interesting to
Yeah,
listen to or actually be part of.
yeah,
Imagine like, you're with that person who's like constantly interrupting you, constantly, like, instead of listening. So my whole battle is like, there's so many interesting things I want to say, but really what I should be doing and is like listening to you, and then after you made your point, then pick one of the interesting things, or whatever the last thing that you said. Maybe the other thing's actually not important. What's important is that maybe that perhaps that last bit of things that he actually said, and then responding to that. So yeah, I guess we're
in
learning.
my head, I put it as like finding the yes and moment
Yeah,
and giving to that the most.
yeah, yeah,
Like yeah, like you said, you have the 10 things, and then what's the like the yes and moment, and like let's sacrifice and let's go with like what this builds together. And today it was funny enough. I was noticing that in doing that, it would come back to a place where oh, this is an interesting place for that other thought thought would be really interesting, but it's like oh shit, that's cool. So we covered more ground before we got there. We
yeah, yeah.
like and I probably have less to explain now or like whatever. I don't
It's
know.
picking your spots to interrupt. I think that is the art. Also, it's like sometimes you do want to interrupt, but you pick, you trust that, hey, this is worth interrupting for.
Yeah, and
Also,
I think we do trust each other
I hope.
pretty
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. Also, dude, can we clip the bits where the sex stories bit, the two that you just said,
sure.
the one mushroom one, which was the second one, and before that you also said something else.
Oh, I wasn't even inside her.
That one, yeah. Can we? I feel like those are interesting bits. I think that we could clip.
Okay.
Yeah. This will be.
The
I think
one
they're
that
longer
wasn't
than a minute,
inside
but I
her,
think it's fine. Yeah.
it
Oh,
ended really funny the next day.
really? How did it end?
Because we had sex twice that night. Because the first time I did wasn't even Cyrus. I didn't necessarily come, but I think she came at some point, and then I was like, I don't even think I need to. And then after my animal brain was like, it doesn't feel like I finished till I came.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
I came outside of her because like we weren't using a condom and she wasn't on the pill or anything, and it felt really unsatisfying. And the next morning things got sexy again. Like it was so easy actually. Things got sexy again, and I really wanted to come inside her.
Yeah.
So I told this, I was like, I really want to fuck you right now, but I really want to come inside you. Can I fuck you in the ass?
Yeah.
And this is a girl who's like she's a solicitor, so she has money. And
Yeah.
so like she all her food stuffs was like really good quality. So that morning she kept wanting to feed me like really nice
Yeah.
things. And she's like,
Yeah.
you should try this coffee. I get it's organic, it's the ground from blah, blah, blah. And
Right. Right.
but before we started getting sexy in the kitchen, and she put like the little whatever you call them, the steamer kettle things, like those
Yeah.
metal things where you put water in the base and there's a little thing for the coffee and then it percolates
Oh.
up and it
Oh.
feels
Okay.
like an espresso size amount of coffee, or depends on the size of it's like a whole kettle but it's made for coffee, for making coffee. She put one
Mm.
of those on the stove, and then we started fucking, and it was like, Subash, it was such a fucking win for me. Like first date, fucking hot connection, easy fucking connection, hot sex. The next day, I'm putting it, and it feels amazing.
Yeah.
My dumbass starts to smell the coffee percolating,
Yeah.
and I can't stop thinking about, oh God, this is really good quality coffee. If I keep fucking her, it's gonna burn. Okay, let's just stop to go take the coffee off. And then it never started
No.
again. And I've been like, that created like a fucking anal fetish in me. Like, I swear to God, that created like an anal. I'm like,
A
I
coffee anal
lost,
fetish. A coffee anal
dude,
fetish.
I lost that chance for anal going so well.
Yeah. Ah.
The only time in my life has ever gone that well,
Damn.
that I'm like, now I'm like obsessed of recreating that moment and coming. And
Damn.
it's like, it's
And
not.
you still need the coffee. That'd be so funny if you need the coffee every time.
Yeah, yeah. Give me the fuck. Let
Oh,
me drink the coffee while I'm doing
well,
it.
no, it has to be brewing and it has to be at the timer. And you have to
Oh,
like,
so I
what if
come
you
in time to go
OCD? It's
coffee.
OCD coffee anal fetish.
Oh my god, I want to burn the coffee. I want to attack the coffee at the same time with the finishing of it.
Man, that's wild. Wait, you know what? What I thought initially when you said, "Oh, she's got all this like good food," I thought that you were worried that like some granola seed would like enter your pee hole because she eats such good food.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Oh man, man,
For
that's wild.
rats.
Hey, sorry, she has what?
For rats, you mean, right?
Yeah. You know,
That's
she
so
finds like a seed, like a sesame seed that's like a really high quality
yeah,
sesame
yeah.
seed that you
Like
see the
like, oh,
bag. Yeah, yeah.
oh, that's sharp. Oh,
Ooh, what's
oh,
that?
what?
Oh
Oh
fuck.
my god.
Yeah, and then you see it's like
Oh,
unprocessed
oh
seed
my god.
that
What is that?
yeah, and it's like organic sesame seed you can see right in the kitchen over there. But now it's on your dick. It's gone through her.
Oh my
It's gross, but I fucking find it funny. That's hilarious. Oh,
god. That's no, it
God.
isn't. That
Oh
is
man. Can you tag if you're editing the both the stories, can you do you want to add this like you can
yeah.
just cut it and add this second bit to
We
the
should do it. I don't know if these chicks will appreciate it, but
they won't see it, right? Like I mean, come on.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And the girl I'm seeing right now she's expecting it. She's
Oh, she's
expecting
expecting. Oh, yeah.
she's
Okay.
expecting it lambasted in
Yeah.
my comedy.
Man, that's funny. That's funny. Do you want to unrecord? This is great. Or you do you have
Okay.
more? If you have more, then we can keep going.
You want to keep going?
No. Unless you have more like
I
allegories
have a
to
story to
story.
tell you, but I don't know if I
Oh, but
want
you don't want
to
to
share
record?
it.
Okay, cool. So we're going to stop recording. This has been. Also, I don't know if Intelligentsia, I want to keep it anymore.
Oh, it's too
Um,
powerful. Too
it- I,
strong.
yeah, I thought it was like "Sorry, ladies" was a funny one. I don't know, it's so dumb. But "Sorry, comma ladies!" exclamation mark. That could be a title, or I don't even know.
It's not catching me right away, but I got to think
A
about it
dumb
because
smart
intelligentsia, dude.
podcast, like smart dumb, or yeah, I don't know. Whatever. We need a
Slightly above
name.
average fuckboys.
Slightly above average fuckboys. I think,
It
yeah,
contains all that in the title.
it does. It does. You know what? Let's keep that then. Slightly above.
Really? You don't look convinced at all, though. It doesn't taste good in your mouth.
It's long.
Ah,
That's the only thing. Is like long is the only thing. Slightly
if
above
it
average.
helps, there's an Indian girl from LA subletting in one of the rooms in the house, and I passed by both titles with her, and she laughed at both of them, but then she was like, "Oh, but the Intelligentsia one is so dangerous. Do you really want to do that?"
Right. Right. Yeah.
At least crowd testing with her, and she's into production.
We could
She like
call the people who listen to us the intelligentsia, but but
Intelligentsia is kind of juicy, dude.
it is juicy. God damn.
Especially if we're not even like earning it in the podcast, you know. It's like it's just the title is there as a provocation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're not. It doesn't sound like what you said. Like what we talked about doesn't seem intelligent. It's not like we are hating women. In fact,
No.
one can make an argument that we are celebrating. We're talking about sex in a different way than just like
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's fucking keep intelligentsia.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
your love child, Smash. You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
give me good like gems and then taking them away.
Cool beans. All right. I'm gonna stop recording. This is great. I think it's a good pod. This was a good one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Cool. Stop recording.